Fight for the Iron Kingdoms as a warcaster. Take control of the mighty jacks, arcane devices, and dark sorceries to bring the fight to the War Machine Hub on beastsofwar.com. It's time for 28mm World War II action. Will you recreate history or reshape it your way? On the Bolt Action Hub at beastsofwar.com.
Hello and welcome to The Weekender. Good morning, everybody. This morning I'm joined by John and Justin.
Hello. Lloyd's disappeared this week.
Yes, Lloyd is having a break. I say he's having a break. I'm hoping he's working on Cold War concrete buildings during his break, but we'll see whenever he gets back. Well, we have a myriad of stuff to navigate this morning, okay? Yeah. We've got news. We have an interview with John Stallard to get a big update on what's happening at Warlord.
Guys from Eden have been in. I've been having a fun week with those guys.
We've got stuff on Eden, and then we have some awesome Kickstarters to talk about. But before any of that, I have a little thing that I want to show off, okay? So this is a Kickstarter by the Laser Terrain Co., okay? It's just on Kickstarter. And get a look at this. It's modular plastic terrain, okay? And it's basically like sci-fi space stations.
Yeah. So is this laser cut like the other stuff we've seen before?
So the material is acrylic, but the guys have been experimenting with different kinds of acrylic and materials and things like that. So what they have is these acrylics that are multi-layered, okay? So the top surface is actually a different color of acrylic than what's beneath. So whenever the lasers etch into it, it actually reveals the surfaces below. So if you move this across, you'll see this lovely kind of warning sign kind of patterns. And you can see all the details and stuff in the floor. Now, it comes in both this white, okay, but it also comes in this rather fetching black. So if I just bring that in for you, you can see that there's also the black variant.
I like the black.
Well.
Yeah, the black paneling looks really cool.
The black has a nice finish to it. So on the black, on the insides the walls are white, and on the outside they've got this kind of like a brushed. It's like more like a brushed aluminium, I think. Whereas on the white one, if I just move this over slightly,
Do you want just the one section?
On the inside, you've got the brushed aluminium, and then on the exterior, you've got the white. Some of my favorite bits is, well, firstly, I kind of like how it all goes together. It actually goes together rather smartly. It just kind of goes together like a jigsaw. But some of my favorite bits are these extra pieces here. Like, for example, this window, okay? So I'll just throw some of the Gates of Antares miniatures up against that, so as you can kind of get a sense of scale. But you have this window piece here, which you can use to kind of close out. So this could be, I've been thinking a lot about this, but this could be kind of your surface space station, or you could have it that is actually like a space station, something up there. I think it's lovely for Infinity. I think it would match Infinity really well. I quite like even the Gates of Antares stuff on this.
That's not bad. That'll work.
Dead Zone, the Warpath stuff would work nice on this.
You can play that in here.
It has a corporation kind of feel to it, doesn't it? That kind of corp type look to
I'm trying to think of what other games you could use it for. I'm trying to think.
Well, will we leave him hanging?
Leave me to
Will
think.
we leave him hanging?
Yeah.
Well, while you were thinking, Justin, we'll try and put up with the smell of your brain working overtime now.
Ouch!
Have a look at this, because here we have another piece which I thought was rather snazzy. So it's a metallic door piece, okay, and look.
Okay, that's quite clever.
It's nice.
So,
Very, very nice.
but that's not the coolest bit of all.
Okay, what's the coolest bit of all?
The coolest bit of all is this.
Okay.
Okay.
So what is this?
So what we have is a little prototype of this. The things can optionally, I believe, come with lighting kits. Okay. So what you'll get is for as an optional bit for each piece that you order. So it all comes in kind of segments, and you can choose what segment you want.
Okay.
It'll come with a corresponding lighting kit that is matched for the segment that you're working with. Okay, so let me just pop this under here. Okay.
Okay.
And can we get the lights killed in the studio?
Shall I go kill some lights?
Yeah, go kill some lights. Okay. So what you do is you pop it under. So just take it and slide it under the piece there. Okay.
One more.
Yep. That's it. And then watch this.
Ooh, that's very cool.
Isn't that sweet?
Yeah.
Am I allowed to come back and look at it?
Yeah. Come and have a look at it. Come and have a look at it. So, just let me push this up so you can get a look at it. What about that?
Isn't that gorgeous?
That's really gorgeous. That's very Tron-esque.
Isn't it awesome?
Yeah.
So they tell me that the actual lighting pads, which if I pull out here, you can see it. The lighting pad is really cool, even on its own.
It is.
It's some kind of weird space age technology that these will come to be the appropriate size and shape for each of the components that are in the actual range, and you'll get a battery pack which could control maybe up to 5 of these lighting panels. Okay, and then you can set it all up underneath, switch it on, and you don't even have to have the lights off entirely. Whoa,
that's
we
weird.
do. But whenever you actually switch it on, it looks like that. It also works just as well, if I move all this out of the way, bring this one in, it works just as well under the black.
Oh,
so
yes.
Does not have a
I like
cool,
that.
It looks really sharp under the black, doesn't it?
Yeah, so let me push it across a bit further just so you can see. Tell me that's not cool.
That is so cool.
Okay, so I thought the white was
off,
Tron-esque.
Yeah, off,
That's...
on. How sweet is that?
Yeah.
Okay, we can get the lights back on.
Okay.
Okay.
So you can pledge for both black and white kits. There's a load of different options and all for the interiors. And another game that might be really nice on this, Alien versus Predator.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Alien versus Predator I think will work lovely.
Yeah, that would be
on
really
this.
good.
So yeah, space age stuff, guys. Love it.
Yeah.
So if you're interested, go and check out the Terrain Co. It's a Laser Terrain Co. Tabletop War Games Terrain, and it's on Kickstarter right now.
Awesome.
Okay, I'm going to take a very quick break to tell you about some hubs, and then we're going to get stuck back into it because we've got some news stories to talk about. We'll be right back after this.
Flames of War brings you the battles of World War II in epic 15mm scale. Go to the hub on beastsofwar.com to find news, tactics, and tutorials about the game. Progress comes to a world of magic as science and the arcane combine to make marvels. Meet steampunk inventors and orc mystics at the Volsung hub on beastsofwar.com.
Okay, so it's time for that part of the show called What the Hell's Going On This Week? That's the worst theme tune ever, isn't it?
Also known as the news.
Also known as the news. Right, so Jono, what have we got this week?
Right, well, the first thing we have is Malifaux. And Malifaux are bringing out Rooster Riders.
Rooster Riders.
That's rather funky, isn't it? Yeah, they are quite cool.
Now, what I want to know, is that a normal-sized goblin on a normal-sized cock? Or is that quite a large goblin on quite a large cock?
Not sure.
How long have you been waiting to pull that one?
Go back to the sculpts of it, Justin.
Yeah.
Go back to the sculpts.
Here you go. Here's all the sculpts.
That looks absolutely fabulous, doesn't it?
Awesome, yeah.
He looks like an ecstatic little goblin in this bottom right picture.
Yeah. So there's Rooster Riders, 3 of them in the pack.
Yeah.
You gotta admit though, the stuff that Malifaux's putting out at the moment is just so
beautiful,
characterful, isn't it? And the plastics are beautiful.
They really are.
I am these days I'm becoming a bit of a connoisseur of collecting miniatures without necessarily getting into the game. Up until now, I've always been about, well, if I get into a game, I'll collect the miniatures for that game. I'm not much of a collector from a painting point of view because I'm a rubbish painter.
Yeah.
Okay? But since I've started doing all the dungeon delving and things like that there, I'm always on the lookout for weird and wonderful stuff that you might find down a dungeon. And a goblin on a giant cock, that could be some of the most amazing, especially if I have 3 of them.
Yeah.
That could be one of the most amazing dungeon encounters you ever came across.
I can imagine my dwarf running away from these.
Well,
in terror.
Imagine you're your dwarf,
Yeah.
okay?
I'm in the dungeon. I've got
You're
the
in
hammer.
the dungeon, you walk into a room,
You've just herded some mammoths away.
and you come across 3 giant cocks with goblins on them.
Yeah, I'm turning tail and running.
You would need to run, man. You would need to run because those cocks are coming for you. They really are. So it's yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Do you know what? It's on it. It's on my must-buy list. I've got to have them.
Yeah, I love the artwork for it as well.
Yes. Go back to the sculpts because we've got
sculpts.
to have
Okay.
them. All right.
Okay,
So,
okay. So there's your sculpt.
Yeah, just look at them. Look at them. Okay, now you can go to the artwork. I'm finished looking at
Oh,
this.
like, the artwork, like you said, is really, really characterful. And whenever they change from artwork to the actual sculpt, they do a really good job of it, is what I was trying to say there.
Yeah. The only thing I would have to do is to keep it in some way realistic. I would probably have to change the gun to some kind of a sword in order to maintain the realism.
Oh, for your dungeon crawl?
Yeah.
I don't know, the way he's dressed, maybe a machete?
Maybe a machete. Maybe a machete, yeah. I wonder, can you prize the goblins off the cock and
Possibly.
just have
It's
the
probably,
cock on its own?
probably a two-piece sculpt.
Yeah.
you
The
probably
cock
have-
wouldn't look right without the goblin mount, though. It's because it'll be an awkward shaped looking thing.
Maybe.
Be kind of twisted.
Yes.
Whereas it would, if it wasn't being pulled by the goblin,
Yeah.
it would probably be able to stand much more erect rather than twisted.
Okay.
So, anyway, what other news have we got then, John?
I think we broke our jaw.
Anyway, moving on. Warlord.
Yes.
Warlord are bringing out Black Powder War of Independence set.
Aha.
Oh, where do you see this?
Yeah. So
Now, this is something quite special. We had been looking at the set that came from the Perrys there last week, or the week before.
Which was American Civil War, wasn't
Yeah, and I was talking about, I want one of these for the War of Independence, so as I can recreate the song, The Battle of New Orleans.
Yeah.
Okay? The only thing that this set doesn't have is an alligator stuffed with gunpowder, but it has everything else. It comes with 285 miniatures for both the British and the Colonials.
Yeah.
285, Justin.
What scale is this?
28 mil.
What? This is a massive box set.
Yeah, this is it. This is as cool as an American Independence box set as you're going to get. Go back to the first screen, okay?
Okay.
You get the Hessians are in there. There's Native Americans in there as well because they were roped into a lot of this battle as well.
Okay.
And there's some casualty figures in there, and it comes with a ton of terrain, so it comes with that big.
Yeah, I have an image of the tower.
Yeah, so that's called a blockhouse.
Okay.
So you have the blockhouse to fight
Is it just
over.
me, or does that have cannons
Yes,
in the
there's
wall?
cannons.
Yes, there are cannons in the very walls, and then if you can keep browsing through there, you'll
There's a nice
also
little battle
get.
scene.
There's also kind of fences and things like that. I believe it's in the box.
Yeah.
And then finally, it also comes with mounted commanders.
Ah, so this guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and I believe the flags and things like that are probably in the box as well.
Yeah.
Now, I am utterly fascinated by this period, and it is something that I'm hoping that we can explore here on Beasts of War, because I'm daunted by the painting of sorry, let me rephrase that. John, I'm daunted on your behalf by the painting of this box set. But you know, from the point of view of being able to explore the War of Independence, I think this would be
From one box.
great. Yeah. And I think it's a fabulous product. I like these one big box, everything you need.
A war in a box.
Yes, everything you need to get a war. You know, the last Perry's one for the Civil War was great.
Yep.
This is awesome. This is awesome as well. I just think I think this big box thing is definitely the way to go.
Yeah.
And it's not, you know, we tend not to talk about price, but you know, I may as well mention it. I think it's like 175 quid.
Yeah.
For
the whole lot.
285 miniatures with all the terrain?
Yep.
Not bad.
So for everything in a box, 2 armies, it's a war in a box.
Yeah.
You know,
not bad at all.
that is not bad.
It's nice
for
that
the whole thing.
It can be a one-off purchase if you're dabbling.
Yeah.
If you have enough interest, you can dabble and just buy that one thing. But there's tons more you can obviously add to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can make this as big as you want or as small as you want. Obviously, for
Yeah.
the box
Like,
set.
see, I do like this time period because it's one of those last wars where it was sort of the honourable wars, where it
The
was
standard
blocks
rank
of
and
men.
file, yeah.
Rank up, shoot, and just take it on the chin. You know.
Yeah, for me, what really appeals to me is the colors.
Yes.
It is, as you say, you know, the towards the end of the period where they were all in battle dress with all the colors, the regalias, the big flags, and things like that. War became a much more utilitarian thing.
By the time you got to the Civil War as well, the uniforms were changing more.
Well, no, do you know what? Warren has just struck something in my head. Do you remember The Patriot with Mel Gibson?
I didn't watch it.
Okay,
Yes.
basically there's a French guy in it who's helping Mel Gibson's character.
Yes.
At the very last battle, he walks out of his tent, done up in his full battle gear. Mel Gibson's just walking around in shirt, trousers. The French guy looks at him and goes, "If I die, at least I will die well dressed."
And that's exactly it. And that is what appeals to me to this in the Napoleonic eras. Is that very thing. It was the fact that there was so much color and pomp and ceremony.
Well, if you look at the dragoons with the big, massive, tall hats, and then all the gold filigree and stuff on uniforms and stuff.
The only conversion I might do is swap out the horses for giant cocks.
Now,
because I just to, for historical accuracy.
And all of a sudden, I heard a pair of Perrys cry out in pain.
Quickly followed by the thump of a Stallard falling unconscious.
Right. What's up next then? What have we got?
Yep. John?
Well, we're going to have to move over to Terminator Genesis.
Yes.
Now we've had a big update actually on the Terminator Genesis side. So it's all the 1984 characters.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
it's the new 1984 characters, not the
movie
old.
Genesis 1984.
Yeah.
So we have the 2 Terminators. So we've Arnie and the T-1000. The likeness is superb on
is.
these, isn't it?
We then have
And then we have Sarah Connor and
Kyle.
Kyle
Reese. Yep.
Yeah.
We then have the cop as well, or a set of policemen,
Yes.
which is very nice.
Which are basically the mobs.
Yeah.
You're going to have to fight through.
Pretty much.
The 2 Terminators are fantastic looking though.
Yeah, go
Yeah.
back to the 2 Terminators there till we see
yeah.
them. So, look at the likeness on that T-1000.
I love
How
the T-1000.
well done is that?
Yeah.
I want to see how people paint that transition from that uniform into the blade.
Yeah,
I'd
that'll
like
be
to see how
very
people do
interesting.
that.
yeah,
Well, I mean, I think this is going to feel like a very different game to what we've seen for Terminator so far, because now it's not hordes of machines versus hordes of men. It's you have your police running around doing their thing, you have your heroes running around doing their thing, and you have the Terminators just keeping coming at you.
yeah.
So I think it's going to be a very big change to the
And
gameplay.
it's a nice, healthy release schedule for Terminator.
Yeah,
it's a
definitely.
game that is definitely being supported.
Oh yeah.
And to top it all off, just a couple of days ago, we found out that River Horse have secured the license for the Hunt for Red October.
Whoa!
We're going to get a
We're gonna get a
submarine
Cold War submarine game, Justin.
Sean Connery at his finest.
Yeah, no pictures of it just yet. But,
Alessio, please.
But it's okay. Alessio, I can already see it in my mind. A submarine board game based on the Hunt for Red October.
Oh, that could
This
be a lot
Cold
of fun.
War stuff is really starting to pick up now, isn't it? So, yeah, so there's your lot for Terminator. I have some news for you now. This is a brand new board game, another Star Wars board game. It's called Star Wars Rebellion, and it's by Fantasy Flight Games. Get a look at this.
Ooh, lovely.
So in this one, you can fight either as the Rebels or the Empire, and you're fighting for control of the galaxy. It's a 2 or a 4-player game, or a 2 to 4-player game. Now, it's got asymmetrical gameplay on this one, Justin, all right?
What's asymmetrical gameplay? I don't know what this is.
Right, okay. So basically what happens is that the two factions have to play differently because they're heavily weighted, okay? So as you can imagine, the Empire has everything.
Yes.
Okay. So in straight up kind of combat and attacks and things like that, they're always going to overpower you. Whereas the rebels do have access to stuff, but the rebel game is all about trying to convert planets and systems to the rebel cause.
So they're more subversive?
Yes.
Okay.
So the Empire is all about grasping and and empowering yourself over the top of the systems. Whereas the rebel objective is to be able to try and work its way through the system and convert them over.
That's very interesting. It's an interesting way to play.
It's if you can win the planets by your side, and there's multiple methods you can do that by, then you're going to get additional resources and support. Anyway, 150 plastic miniatures in the box.
Ooh. Wow.
Yeah. And look at what we can see. AT-ATs and ATSTs.
Built Death Star, half-built Death Star. Lovely.
Superstar Destroyer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's all in there. Cool. So as games go, if you can go back to the picture of the board, I really liked the board on this. I thought that the board looks fabulous.
Yeah.
So all of the kind of the well-known systems, there's about 30 or so well-known systems from the Star Wars universe are represented on that. So
is Alderaan there, or is it just
it's probably
asteroid belt?
It's probably just an asteroid belt. Yeah, so that to me is the absolute highlight of the news this week.
This was completely to be expected with this year being the new Star Wars movie. Or Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
Because as we get closer and closer, I'm expecting to see even more and more of this stuff come out.
Yeah, well, this is the year of Star Wars. Yeah. Next year's the year of Star Trek.
Really?
So it's the 50th anniversary of Star Trek.
Yeah.
We have a series now has been announced for 2017.
A new Star Trek series?
New Star Trek series.
Okay,
so
I'm hoping they go dark and gritty with it.
I would like to see them go dark and gritty with this one as well.
I've kind of noticed that over the past couple of years, the Star Wars games have gotten further away. If you know what I mean. Like they started with X-Wing.
Oh yeah, you were right up close.
You went X-Wing and then you went, what was the
Armada.
And now you've gone to this.
Well, actually, it's kind of went a bit like this, like a whistle. Woo! Because in between all that, you had Imperial Assault, which took you right into the actual skirmish action, and is the closest, one of the closest things we have to a sci-fi dungeon crawler.
Yeah, and we did the Battle of Hoth, which went. Whoop.
Yes, and remember that our big Battle of Hoth game, all being well, provided we can get the transportation in place, is going to be at Dragonmeet in London. On the 5th of December, and Grant is going to be there to run people through the game.
Interesting.
So Hoth is going on tour. So 5th of December, it's going to London to go to Dragonmeet. After that, again, provided we get the transport organised, it's heading to Adepticon.
Really?
Yes.
I will be very annoyed if I see any of the AT-ATs come back and someone's taken a pen and scribbled on it and went, John, you're going to have to repaint this now, aren't you?
Yeah, John, fix this. So, well, there's your lot. That's the news for this week. Now, we've this week we did the unboxing of Beyond the Gates of Antares, the new starter set.
That was wonderful.
Yourself and, was it both, all three of you?
Yeah,
it was myself,
Justin, and John.
John.
If you haven't seen that, go and check that out. As starter sets go, it's got everything in there. It's got loads of troops. It's got your big gribbly beasties.
Yeah.
It has the templates and stuff in there, but most importantly, it has the nice, big, thick hardback rulebook, which is full of the army lists are in there,
background,
full rules in there, and most importantly of all the background and the narratives in there. So.
And the one we had the special characters in it.
Yes.
Which are two nice little metal guys. I'm not sure if you're still able to get those, but they are lovely.
Yeah, it's definitely, if you have even a passing interest in Beyond the Gates of Antares, now's the time to hop in, because after this initial launch set of the box runs out, the new one is going to have like a smaller soft pack rulebook and stuff like that in it. So if you want the big proper rule book,
even
now's the time to jump in and
even then you're still going to be able to buy the big hardback rule book. I remember John saying.
Yeah, you'll be able to buy it separately, but you want it as part of the box.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, that wasn't all that's coming out of Warlord. Obviously, we have seen the War of Independence set, but I did get a chance to sit down with John just to ask him and to put other people's minds at ease, because every time Warlord announced something big, all the supporters of all the other systems they do go, wait, that's very nice, But what about me? Well, actually, we have some answers for you on that because I decided to sit John down and quiz him about that very thing.
Humanity has been driven from Earth, but now it's time to take it back. Join the Reconquest and fight the Scourge on the Drop Zone Commander Hub at beastsofwar.com. Anime cyberpunk style meets skirmish combat in Infinity. Experience 8 high-tech factions and fight to control the human sphere at the Infinity Hub on beastsofwar.com.
Hi guys, so I'm joined by John Stallard of Warlord. Big weekend. It's the launch of Beyond of Gates of Antares two-player starter set. We've done the unboxing, so go and check it out. And I just wanted to take a time to just have a chat with John about all the other stuff that Warlord are doing. You know,
Well,
it's
and over a few cups of tea, we've thought about what we can chat about, haven't we?
yes, we have. So, John, the big question obviously is it's a massive weekend. Gates of Antares is coming out now. It's coming out full force, 6 factions, 2-player starter set.
Yeah.
Plastics, a big bright future on the horizon with the tanks and everything else that's coming. What about bolt action?
Yeah, no, it is an Antari-tastic weekend, which we're very proud of. But yeah, lest we forget, our jewel in the crown has for quite a few years now been bolt action, of which we are very proud indeed. In fact, as we spoke earlier, the bolt action system has been carried over into Antari, so it's actually been given life from bolt action with its innovative dice mechanic for command. It's no, bolt action is one of my favourites. It's World War II. It floats all our boats. Who doesn't like Tiger tanks, Shermans, T-34s, etc., etc.?
Yeah.
We're certainly not going to be forgetting about bolt action. Fear not.
Yeah. So there's still plenty in the works for it in terms of your books and models and stuff like that to come.
Well, we've just released the Pacific campaign. That's been very exciting, and then we've got Jewel in the Sun, which is the Italy and Western Desert campaign. That's very exciting too. I bought a copy for you to read later on, and that gives us a chance to do loads more interesting models and yet more tanks. We've got an awful lot more plastic tanks to come out yet, and some lovely conversions for resin tanks.
Yeah.
Two more boxes of plastic miniatures to come out as well this year, looking at the airborne forces of American and British. So massive stuff for bolt action.
Yeah. Now, during the summer, there was a very successful online campaign run. Can we expect a bit more of that in the future?
You can. We're going to be doing another one next year. And what I forgot to mention in our previous chat was we'll be doing the same thing for Antares. We'll have a campaign book, and it will also be an online campaign as well.
Yeah.
So that's the last campaign was a big hit across the world. Very exciting. Thousands of games played. Hilarious getting the results in. Great photographs sent in from people having fun. Outrageous fibs going on clearly sometimes.
I can imagine.
But that's all right. It's all part of the hobby, you know. So yeah, we will be redoing the online campaigns and more.
Yeah. Well, on the topic of more, I have something I just want to run past you. Every now and again, something drops into us, and we don't know where it comes from or whatever. But
Yes.
have a look at this. Can you tell me anything about what we're looking at here?
This is not the picture you're looking for. It appears to be. Yeah, I think it's clearly a German fabrication of some sort of weird war tank, I think.
Yeah.
Yes, no, I don't recognise where that comes from. No. No idea.
Yeah. How about we stay tuned on that one?
Stay tuned.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yes.
So plenty happening on the bolt action front anyway.
Loads, very exciting.
There's the other historical series there as well. So Hail Caesar, for example, what are the plans for Hail Caesar for the next while?
Well, plans for Hail Caesar, it's always one of Rick Priestley's loves, is ancient wargaming, and we've got another book to come out for that on Caesar's civil wars. So that's more soldiers for that and some more books. Almost certainly an Assyrian book, and we're also looking at Nigel Stillman is doing us a fantastic biblical war book, and Nigel Stillman, what he doesn't know about the biblical armies is not worth knowing.
Yeah.
It's going to be great fun. I think biblical warfare is great fun. It's just that people don't know where to start.
Yeah.
Because, unless you know it, you don't know it. So
Because I'm.
where would you start?
Yeah, it's like, was it the walls of Jericho that came?
All that sort of stuff,
down?
and the Syrians coming down like a wolf.
Do we
on the
get an
fold.
Ark of the Covenant in there somewhere?
Well, I do, but it all being in one book will mean it will give people confidence to build up an Israelite army or whatever it might be, and so that would be a good shot in the arm for
So
the.
I take it, would it be Israelites, Egyptians?
Yeah, Hittites, Assyrians. Babylonians, all this crazy stuff, lots of chariots, all manner of goodness. I'm really looking forward to that.
And that's going to be a part of the Hail Caesar series, then, is it? Yeah.
I think it's going to be our best book as well, because Nigel writes it. He knows his stuff. Don't get me wrong, but he writes it with a wargamer in mind. He actually knows, so you actually organise your force and will suggest how they fought these different tactics. Yeah. Suggest their dress, standards, and things like that. He's a great gamer, is Nigel. If you remember from Games Workshop days, he was always wonderfully off the wall. And a really great guy.
Awesome. Let's pick it up. Pike and Shot next.
Pike and Shot. We've just come out. Well, 3 months ago we came out with our 30 Years War supplement, and that's gone very well. We follow that up with some Ottoman Turkish army, which is quite exciting. Now next year we'll have our English Civil War supplement, written by a chap called Charles, who knows his stuff, and it's specifically about the English Civil War. I say English, the Irish, the Scots, the Welsh, everybody was at it, and it wasn't very civil either. And that will concentrate. He's done extensive research on all the various armies, because there's so many armies of that period, and he's really drilled down to give you the confidence to get known regiments, their coat colours, their flags, their colonel's name, where they fought, etc., etc. And he's also putting in lots of scenarios as well, fighting small battles, up to the big, massive battles of Marston Moor, which I think was the biggest battle in English history, I think, on English soil, British soil. But he knows his stuff, and that will be great for next year. Very exciting.
Now, English Civil War, I may be wrong here, but I think that's something quite close to your heart. You've done reenacting in that period, yeah?
I did. I had 30 wonderful years of bashing bad guys over the head with sticks. It was great fun. I had a hoot doing that. I'm a bit old for doing it now, but I had good days, happy days.
Leads us on nicely then to the likes of Black Powder. What are the plans there?
Well, Black Powder was pretty much the first set of rules we put out when we formed Warlord 8 years ago now. And Rick very kindly, Rick and Jervis had written that, and Pike and Shot and Hail Caesar are derivative from there in a way. Black Powder, it's still a terrific game. What have we got coming out for that? We've got an American Civil War supplement coming out for that, very shortly, written by one of my friends, Dr. James. Full of good stuff, lots of photography from the Perrys and one of my French friends. So that's the next book coming out for Black Powder, American Civil War. Then there are supplements for Northwest Frontier. I think we'll be doing one for Samurai as well. That might be in the Pike and Shot era more, because it's a little earlier. But 2 or 3 more supplements. The one I'd really like to put out would be a Crimean War, but I need somebody to come and write it for me.
Well, if you're up on your Crimea and stuff, you might want to get in.
Come and write it, in.
Come and get in touch.
So lots for Black Powder, lots more. We got the other thing we got is we got the 3rd Napoleonic supplement coming out, which is written by Ady, and it's covering the Russian campaign of 1812. The Great Retreat from Moscow and all of that, which will also cover a lot of the Austrians and Prussians and Russians, and figure ranges to support all that too.
You can hardly keep up with everything.
I know, it's great.
Coming out, so
when going forward, we always promise not to widow any of our systems, so we're always going to bring something out. One paper product a year for each of our systems, and possibly 2 or more in Black Powder, in Bolt Action's case. And figures to match too.
Other than that, then you have some of the other kind of sci-fi ranges. You have Terminator.
Terminator's done very well for us, and River Horse have got some really neat personality models. They're coming through now. Arnie on his bike, and great fun. Lovely models to paint.
Yeah.
And also we've going forward we've got the Doctor Who license as well now, of course. And so we're doing our first test shots of that. Lots of entertaining things you can do with Doctor Who, of course.
Yeah.
And as we've got a 50-year pedigree to go at, you can go right the way back to the first Doctors if you wish, right up to what's on Saturday night in Britain now. So we've got it all to go at. And how many different versions of the Daleks were there, and Cybermen, and etc., all the baddies.
Yeah.
And all the Doctors and all their assistants. It's we can make some really cracking models, I think.
So obviously, it clearly depends on the success of the game. But is the plan to do something, perhaps multiple books set over different campaigns?
Our plan at the moment is to do a game, which will be, and a couple of people said, well, the Doctors don't kill people. How can it be a game?
Yeah.
Well, there's an awful lot of other people in there who do kill things, and the Doctors can run away and dupe things and escape and all manner of other things they can do. And unit troopers in there, they certainly kill bad guys, and so we can make an exciting game. But we also think it's going to be it will really appeal to just collectors. People want to get all the 13 Doctors, and just for painting them up. It's most of our childhoods, certainly mine. I'm 54 now, so I was 4 when the first Doctor Who came out, and I thought it was wonderful then. I think it's great now.
Well, I'm all up for Daleks, really. Like a Dalek army could be amazing.
If you didn't want to Dalek, what would be wrong with you?
John, look, thank you very much for taking the time to bring us up to date. There's clearly a ton coming out for Warlord. So it's guys, if you have any further questions or whatever for John and the guys at Warlord, post them in the comments below, and we'll be sure to make sure that they're watching, and maybe they can get feedback if we missed anything. John, thank you. Right, back over to the studio.
From Viking halls to the cities of the future, terrain buffs will love our foreground hub. Watch gaming tables of all genres come to life at beastsofwar.com. Keep your blaster handy, the West is a dangerous place. Fight to survive as men turn to monsters and the dead rise on the Wild West Exodus hub at beastsofwar.com.
So there's a ton due out from Warlord. However, as interesting as it all might be, walking tanks, bolt action meets Weird World War. He didn't say much about it, but I want to find out more about that.
Yeah.
So a little bird tells me that there was some shenanigans going on at Salute earlier in the year, and some of this stuff might have been seen out and about around the Salute time. So I'm very interested. I think bolt action as a system will actually quite suit Weird World War. And if they go down that route, which I really hope they do, the great thing about it is, for those of us that have already went down the route of bolt action, all we're doing is replacing turrets and things like that with Tesla coils and everything else. So we can really kind of go to town on the existing collections that we have, swap bits in and out. What's not to like about that?
Because I know your Russian force is all of a sudden going to be getting big, massive coats of red whenever you change turrets and stuff. So all the hard work John did is going to go to waste when John just comes in with, or Warren comes in with the 3-inch brush and goes, aha!
No, that's not true at all. No, I will be very tasteful. I will keep it historically accurate. Every leg on my tanks will be painted in the proper colors.
Okay. Well,
anyway, they weren't the only visitors we had this week.
No, we had the guys from Happy Games Factory. 2 of the creators of Eden joined us. So we had Fred and Mohammed across in the studio doing a nice series, some demo games, and a segment for this weekender.
Awesome.
But on top of that, we've got a prize from them.
Right.
In fact, we have 2 prizes from them. First up, they are giving away 2 starter sets. So we have Dante's Angels and the ISC starter pack. So if we have a look at those under close camera. So, ta-da! Dante's Angels and ISC.
Yeah, let's get some pictures of it.
So they're heavy metal biker guys.
Dante's Angels. You know, the miniatures in this box set are absolutely beautiful. I did get a chance while they were over to have a look through some of the painted miniatures that they had for the demo games, and they were just gorgeous.
Yeah.
So they were.
And on top of that, you're also getting the all-important rulebook that you're going to need too.
Okay, so throw it onto the close camera there.
Ta-da!
And
Now, it is shrink wrapped.
see,
So
yeah.
it's brand spanking new.
Oh, so you're not even gonna open it up?
No, I had it open on a previous weekender. If you want, you can go back and have a look at that where we had a look through.
Okay.
But on top of that, we have a second prize. So this is for front stage.
Okay.
You can win this by commenting on this video.
Okay, so comment below here on beastof.com,
Yep.
or over on YouTube, or in the corresponding post on Facebook.
Right.
And a winner will be picked at random, and you will win 2 starter sets and a rulebook.
Yes.
Okay. Have you seen it?
The backstage prize.
Oh, we have a backstage prize.
I said we have 2 prizes.
Okay.
The backstage prize. Now, Mohammed does all the painting for Eden.
Yeah, it's worth saying.
He does a beautiful job.
He's one of the Rackham, one of the famous Rackham sculptors.
So confrontation.
So he does the sculpting, painting. His stuff is beautiful. Yeah.
He is putting his skills up for grabs.
Right.
The winner will get to pick 1 miniature from the Eden range, which he will paint to a high standard.
You are joking.
Nope. So you'll put your comment in on the backstage video this week for Weekender XLBS.
Yeah.
If you win, you get to pick yourself an Eden miniature.
It can pick
paint
any Eden miniature they want.
Any Eden miniature. Now, it can't be something silly
And they'll
like...
get that pro-painted by the creator.
Right. I want to caveat, you can't do something silly like pick a starter set.
Yeah.
Pick 1 miniature,
Uh-huh.
and he will paint it up beautifully for you, and that will be sent out to you.
Awesome.
Tell me that's not cool. Now,
That is cool.
I have an
But
interview
that's
with
only
them.
for backstage, yeah?
That's for backstage.
Okay,
so
right.
I have an interview with the guys about their new RPG that they have on Kickstarter currently. Mm-hmm. So do you want to take a quick swipe and we'll have a watch of that?
Absolutely. Let's see what they've got to say.
Humanity has been driven from Earth, but now it's time to take it back. Join the Reconquest and fight the Scourge on the Drop Zone Commander Hub at beastofwar.com. Anime cyberpunk style meets skirmish combat in Infinity. Experience 8 high-tech factions and fight to control the human sphere at the Infinity Hub on beastofwar.com.
So, hi guys. As you can see, we've broke away from the normal weekender. I am now in control and I have been joined by 2 of the guys from Eden. May I introduce Mohammed and Fred?
Yeah. Hi,
Okay.
everybody.
Welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Sorry. Hi. Thank you for receiving us.
Guys, what we're talking about today is Stygmata, the role-playing game for Eden. Now, for those of you who don't know what Eden is, it's a 30mm skirmish post-apocalyptic war game,
Yes.
which has really captured my imagination. So, as well as doing a war game, you're now doing a role-playing game.
Yes.
So, my question is, what exactly is happening in this role-playing game? What is it letting you do that the war game isn't?
So when we developed Eden, it's 5 years ago. We really need to have a more deeper background. Mm-hmm. So now we are starting to show how faction can sometimes cooperate when they have a same goal.
Okay.
And Stygmata is a reflect of this
Yes.
aspect.
It's actually a deeper look at one aspect of the skirmish game, where you can play a faction, not a faction, but a troop of guys with the same outlook on the apocalypse.
So these are the stigmas of humankind that I've
Yes,
read
the
about.
stigma
I
of
see.
humankind. And with the role-playing game, it's a deeper look into this and shows how the different characters interact, even though they're not from the same faction. So you have Jokers mixing with Resistance, or Bamaka allying with Dance Angels.
That's interesting.
Still, it depends all on the stigmata. Some have more protective, they want to protect the world.
Yeah.
It all depends.
Yeah.
And it's really a deeper look into the universe.
Is there a Joker who really wants to protect the world?
Not really.
Yeah,
In this case,
I was just thinking Jokers. I've had a look at these guys.
and that's funny because in this case, the Jokers, all the campaign is going about the judgment. Why? Because
The change, yeah.
the change. Why? Because it's everyone need to find a way to make some change. I cannot say more because it's all
is this
in the role-playing game.
So basically, if you're wanting to find out, you're going to have to have a closer look, guys.
Yes.
But I will say, it does look like a really fun game. So the stigmatas that we're talking about, if I can get this to work, because I'm having to control everything. So we have this, which is showing the different stigmata or the stigma of
Exactly.
humankind. So what are each of these as we look at them?
So from top to bottom,
Okay.
right on the top, it's change.
Okay,
Exactly.
which is the eye with the purple background?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yeah, you have this. So the change is people accept the changing because of the apocalypse, and they try to make the best out of it.
Okay.
Second,
Then?
on the left,
Okay, the
you
skull?
have the skull is chaos.
Okay.
Chaos is something like change,
Yeah.
but it's all about the jokers.
Yes.
So, practically all the jokers are more into chaos. It's
Yeah, so
okay.
it's just some men want to watch the world burn.
Yes,
Exactly.
the world change. Now I'm gonna do what I want, and
Yeah.
it's burning.
Okay, lovely. Next up, what's the tree?
So the tree is actually destruction.
Okay.
So it's not exactly a tree.
Okay.
It's more like
Explosion.
It's
yes.
actually a mushroom.
Mushroom.
Yes,
Whoops,
exactly.
My bad. I apologize.
No problem.
It's a great design by Wayne England, a guy who love.
Okay,
this
cool.
And the destruction is more like military conquest.
Okay.
So people with the destruction are really great fighters. I would say like the Romans back in the time.
Okay.
They want to conquer everything and rule the world.
Okay, so next up we have this nice shield at the bottom.
The shield is protection. So basically it's the opposite of destruction, of
Okay.
course. So they want to protect what remains
Yep.
and want to protect the people. It's a high. Sorry. It's really the type of stigmata you will find in the convoy, for example.
Okay.
For example.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then
last
our
one?
last one, which is the scales.
Yes, is order.
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 Okay.
So opposite chaos.
Yeah.
Matriarchy is really about order.
Yeah.
But as we will see soon, not quite the way you think.
Yes, you imagine order, utopian society.
Yeah.
Matriarchy is more order, I have a big stick.
Yes.
Exactly.
But it's some kind of civilization.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, as well as that, for the Stygmata campaign, we're seeing a map of the world of Eden. So this is how Europe looks today.
Yes.
So what the hell happened to Italy?
What the hell? Well, seismic weapons were triggered. Bad things happen. It's
Yeah.
a lot of
changement.
Yeah,
I will say one thing. I'm quite content. Ireland looks to be relatively untouched. So
Yeah.
I'm okay. So I can just if this was real.
That's why we came here. We know it's gonna be okay.
And take care. That can be changed, like you say.
Oh dear, oh dear. Right, so moving along, we've actually got some artwork from the campaign, which I think is really nice. So tell me, who is this we're looking at here?
That's Promethe. That's a resistance guy who wants to make some experience.
Okay.
But he don't find a good way to make it in the ISC vault.
Okay.
So he tried now, and the beginning of adventure. This is this guy who lets the right to the other one to escape from a bunker.
Okay, so
That's-
basically he's been in one of the Noah arcs.
Yeah,
He's just sat there
Exactly.
going, well, it's kind of boring in here. I
yeah.
want to go adventuring.
And
I want to
need
explore.
and to try some new drugs on new people, something like that.
Oh, so is he a doctor?
Something like that.
Something
yeah.
like that. And
Okay,
also,
so
yeah.
we have a mad scientist in the house. Lovely.
Yeah.
Next up, we have this lovely, lovely little lady who looks insane.
Ah,
So who is this?
So
that's
this is
Mila.
Mila.
Mila, okay.
From the Jokers.
Okay, I kind of guessed Joker.
Yeah.
She does look mildly insane.
Yeah.
So, what's her backstory? What is her goal in this role-playing game?
I think at this time she just find a way to make some funny things. It's just
Yeah.
like that.
Okay, so
She reflects.
it's like the song lyric. Some girls just want to have fun.
Yes, yes.
exactly.
Okay, perfect. Next up, we have one from the convoy, which is my favorite faction so far. So, who do we have here?
So this is
Siegfried.
Siegfried.
Okay.
his conveyor. I'm lost for word with the English term. He's one of the leader in the convoy. And trying to lead his people to new territory.
Exactly.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, that sounds like English to me.
Okay, so
and convoy people sell water for for
and
money in
in a world that's destroyed, what's one of the most valuable resources?
Water.
Fresh water.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it makes perfect sense. We then have some artwork here. Oh, this I like. This I very like. So this is actually showing some of the people fighting together.
Yes, exactly.
What are those monsters?
Yeah, that monsters is
licals. Some kind of post-apocalyptic hyenas.
Yeah.
And they are basically attacking. So you have Siegfried at the bottom, and behind him is Salomon.
Okay.
A new angel from Dance Angel.
Oh, lovely.
So,
lovely.
He's also into change, but Dance Angel are really in the kind of change like bash your head first and change, and if you don't change, you die.
So I'm meant to change. I have changed you from alive to dead. Job done.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, perfect. But I really like the Kickstarter because it's actually allowing you to get an intro pack into the world. This is something I have a problem with a lot of RPGs. Whenever you're trying to get in, you maybe have a stack of books this high. For this, the intro pack actually just gives you some pre-generated characters who we've been seeing. We've got all the rule books, the story books, all the tokens, dice, and everything you're going to need in one handy pack.
Yeah.
So I like this. I like it. It's a very clever little product to let you live in the world of Eden.
When we develop things, we always think about people who don't know everything about our world, and and it's very we make a game very easy to play, easy to understand, and with some stuff that can more easy for people that never play role playing to have an idea of what they have in hand. For example, we have some little card, we don't take it. But, for equipment, we can directly show to people that they find something, you know. So it's more easy to.
So instead of saying
immersive.
Yeah. So instead of saying, okay, I loot the dead. Okay, you find this sword here. Here's the stats. Write it down on your sheet. You actually have a little stat card to go here.
Exactly.
You find this.
Exactly.
Perfect. Perfect. That makes life a lot more easy.
Yeah.
Now I'm actually seeing on table we have the miniatures.
Yes.
Oh, they're beautiful. Guys, have a look at these. So, who all are we seeing here?
So,
let's go in closer.
Yeah.
So we're starting with our lovely little lady.
Yes.
So you may recognize her with a little pony head. This is Mila.
The pony head with a rather large spear on the end.
Yes. So a unicorn. If you
okay. She made her own.
It's a new version of unicorn.
Okay.
So we choose to make miniatures for a role-playing game because it's more easy to see the space you have on the battlefield. And people.
Yeah. As a miniature company, for us, miniatures are important, and it really drives into the universe because you see things.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, to actually have a visual representation on the table does help. I mean, I'm loving this guy with his sort of mutated falcon. An old cavalry sword. He's very much an old school cowboy. Very, very nice.
What is interesting is that we can make like that something between Eden the game and the role-playing game, because these 4 guys, they are already unlocked. It costs exactly 100 points in the game. So
it's a cross.
I can cross this over.
Yes. Crossroad between the two game.
Yeah, exactly.
2 games.
That is something I love, is being able just to cross stuff over. Could I just take a Joker gang from Eden and place them in as an encounter in the role-playing game?
That will happen because we make in the initiation sets, we had one more Vierge.
Yes.
You can create your own
character.
So
create if you're an experienced RPG player, you want to create everything you want, you can. But for beginners, you can have maybe I show it.
Sure.
Pre-generated
so the miniatures are for pre-generated characters.
Yes, you have all you need to know inside.
Okay, very cool.
With reminders for different tests. what are life points over there. For those who play Eden, you have also location, different limbs.
So this will actually work as the stat card.
Exactly.
A lot, yes.
Lovely.
But this time we split every limb with 2 characteristics instead of 1.
And you
with
need
this,
to push your...
Yes.
I see.
And this allows us to split characteristics. And for tests, you need to make your normal roll with 2 different stats, but you mix them between the limbs. It depends on the kind of test you're trying to achieve.
Exactly. Very interesting. All right, well, we still have some more minis here. So we have our lovely, I love this dude. He's our little mad scientist.
Yeah,
from
Prometheus
the arc
is really the mad scientist.
Yeah, and I love his spear because it's actually got a little bit of tech built into it.
Yes,
exactly.
Yes.
So what is that going to do? Is that actually him stabbing an enemy and injecting him with something, maybe?
Like every resistance, you can use battery units.
And provide power to his power tools and his little lab equipment to perform certain tasks.
Lovely. Okay.
Exactly.
We have our other guy who we saw from the artwork here.
So this is...
He's got a very
Salomon.
old school Romanesque feel to him with the big crested helmet.
Exactly.
Yes, and
He
some
is
Shakespearean insight on life.
Alas, poor Yorick, I knew him.
I think it's the skulls of his father or something like
Yeah.
that. I don't tell you all the story, but you can find it easily.
It's all those little teases that are going to drop.
Yeah,
The miniatures are
exactly.
absolutely gorgeous.
Thank
we have
you.
one
Thank
more.
And this is to show you that for the Kickstarter special, we make some different equipment to show you that you can change head and arm to make a different, in this case it's Salomon. You can make a different way as you wish. And that's exclusive to the Kickstarter, so
cool. So
you can change your
so
mini.
instead of his father's skull, he has a big flail, and instead of his sword, he has a nice shield.
Yeah,
and he has a really nice coiled head. That's very cool. That's very, very cool.
Homemade flail and.
No, that's very, very cool. So. The Kickstarter is currently running at the minute, yeah?
Yeah, yes. We reached our first goal, and now that's just bonus.
Okay, awesome. Well, guys, it's definitely one to go and check. The other thing you should know, between us, we've actually done a series for Eden, where we're going to be going in depth into tactics, tips, tricks, basics of the game, and a full demo game. So, guys, we'll move back to the main weekender. Stay tuned because we may have something coming in the future to show you some more sneak peeks from the guys from Eden. So, we'll see you soon.
Humanity has been driven from Earth, but now it's time to take it back. Join the Reconquest and fight the Scourge on the Drop Zone Commander Hub at beastsofwar.com. Anime cyberpunk style meets skirmish combat in Infinity. Experience 8 high-tech factions and fight to control the human sphere at the Infinity Hub on beastsofwar.com.
You look like you have been really enjoying this Eden stuff.
I've kind of... this is what happens to me every time. I fall headfirst into a game and go, oh my god, it's beautiful, it's amazing, you've created something wonderful, and they have.
Well, we have been approached by people at Salute. Time and time again as we're walking around going, oh, you've got to check out Eden, you've got to check out Eden. At the time, the only thing that was available was a French rulebook. So I struggled to get into it a little bit, you know, because my French is anyway, I have been witnessing his excitement grow during this.
Yeah, well, like I said, it happens every time. The game is incredibly simple to learn.
Yeah.
You have 4 base stats on your cards, right? Once you know those, you're up, you're running. Then you start to add in things like tactical cards, special points, which you can actually pay to do special actions and stuff. And the meta of this game, you're going to love. Because at the very start of the game, you're picking your tactical cards when you first see your opponent's army.
Yeah.
So you have that moment at the very start of the game going, right, that might work, that might work, that might work.
You can start to tune the strategy that you
planning
want to
turn
bring
1,
into
planning
play.
turn 2, planning turn 3, planning up to turn 5. So it's got a great meta to it, you're going to love it. And we've done a series.
I'm looking forward to seeing it. It's Ben, everybody!
Hello, Ben.
Say hello,
I'm
Ben.
here. Hello, everybody.
That can mean only one thing.
Is this going to be another bad
invasion? Well, no, it means it's Kickstarter time. Okay. I have picked some Kickstarters for us this week. Okay. I have some doozies for backstage tomorrow morning. So if you're a fan of the show and you want to support the show and keep the whole ball rolling, please do consider coming over to beastsofwar.com, sign up to backstage. It's $3.79 a month. It's a tiny amount, considering in your average month, we put out hours and hours of content, a ton of it backstage, and we were doing a calculation recently. In a typical month, we put out about 450 hobby articles and news articles across Beasts of War.
Right. So just to be clear,
if we don't scratch your hobby itch, I will come there in person and scratch it for you.
Is that everything though, including normal video content, news content,
video
article
content?
Series?
Yeah, it's collectively 450.
I never realized we were quite that busy.
Pieces of content. This is why we don't get time to do anything, other than just live and breathe the industry. Anyway, back to my Kickstarters.
Yeah.
I have rather than a Kickstarter, I have what I'm calling Kickstarter Alert. Kickstarter Alert. Megacon Games is about to launch another new Kickstarter. So this is the creators of Mercs, the creators of Myth. Now they're hitting Kickstarter with Banner Saga. This is Warbands. It's launching next week, and I believe we have a little teaser trailer for you. So check this out.
How it translates is different than I think what I was initially imagining, and yet at the same time, by the time we were halfway through the game, I realized this is the spirit of the Banner Saga. In other words, when we're playing the board game or the combat, there's no dice rolling, there's no cards or anything. It's all based on just the abilities of the characters, and it's a very streamlined, fast-flowing, really cool system that by the midway through the first combat, I totally understood, totally loved it, and not only that, it's highly tactical. There's nothing random in it at all.
Well, one of my favorite things about it is it becomes a community combat game. And it wasn't necessarily initially going to be that. It just becomes that because naturally people are looking at this saying, oh my gosh, if you do that, this is going to happen. And suddenly you're all together. The warband is together in combat.
And you're debating like, hey, I'll do this if you do this.
That's right.
And it's funny too, though, even though it's a game where we all kind of come together, that was the most unified we was in combat. Other than that, we're supposed to be moving together, but I found myself trying to backstab people and stuff. I was the Thane when we were playing it. Right. It was a lot of fun.
Keeper of Names, we have Supply, War Master, and Thane. And each take on a role that's very important to the combined strength of the warband. But if any one section of that warband gets too much renown, too much power, then the whole warband falls to pieces.
Yeah, each individual is trying to achieve as far as they can achieve on their own, but their existence is dependent upon the existence of everyone else.
Right. What do you guys call it? It's where you're fighting against each other, but you're also cooperating. Coopetition, which is a word I heard today for the first time. But I think that was a really perfect way of putting it. And as you're playing, you're traveling across this huge landscape where we're using the direct map from the Banner Saga.
Yep.
And I thought that was really cool too, because you've got a board game that doesn't feel like, oh, I'm just moving, the next space. It feels like you're really traveling great distances. And the story backs that up.
So there's a little behind the scenes of the developers, not only the guys in Megacon, but the developers of Banner Saga.
Yeah, the guys from Stoic.
Yeah, discussing some of the mechanics of the game. Ben, you're excited about this one.
I am really, really excited. I played Banner Saga on the PC, absolutely loved it. The story was fantastic. And from what I can see, what they're doing here with Megacon, I think this is going to be like the same experience again, but in a board game. And I can't wait to check this out. It looks so good, so good.
Now, we as we're talking here, we're bringing up some miniatures. We have some photographs and stuff that we can show.
Yeah, so we've got the game board with everybody laid out with your heroes, your monsters, while you're in the middle of a combat. The interesting thing for me is this is a diceless game.
Yes.
That instantly jumped out at me and went, what do you mean diceless? How do you play a diceless game?
Well, how do you play a diceless game? Chess. is a diceless game. There are plenty of diceless games, but I get what you mean. It does seem to be heavily focused on the tactical aspect and then removing the randomness. Ben, what's your take on it?
Well, I think this is a great. It translates over so well from the video game because the video game itself requires. There's no RNG. There's no random dice rolls or anything. It's all about your positioning of units on the tabletop, or in the game's case, the digital tabletop, and your choices of what actions to do. So I think this is a great way of getting across that tactical feeling in the board game, and it's the way in which like you have to specifically use characters for their strengths but also watch for their weaknesses at the same time. And the fact that the combat takes like 10 minutes, something like that, means that you've got these really sharp, punchy, tactical, like edge of your seat battles in the middle of this really long campaign that you're playing out on the board game. It just looks so good. I think it's a really awesome idea. So,
well, I'm interested actually in the bits between combat, because that was where you saw the developers in Stoic saying, well, actually, the combat was the bit that drew us all together, but during the rest of it, I was kind of backstabbing my mates and stuff like that. I love games where you get to do a little bit of backstabbing, because
of course you do, Warren.
Co-opetition or something?
Co-opetition.
That's a nice phrase.
Yeah,
that's a word now.
Yeah.
So it kind of feels like we're going to get that bit of kind of Spartacus do over the other players kind of feel to it.
The Thane's getting too powerful, right? I'm the quartermaster. Let's take some supplies away from there, maybe.
Well, I think the way in which the game does it is that all the choices and stuff you make, you have to make very harsh decisions about who gets what, where resources are allocated and things like that. So the competition is not so much sort of like a backstabbing. It's more of like you need to stop doing this so that the rest of us can carry on with like our journey and work together. So it's almost like this, almost like a tug of war between the different characters, and I think there's 4 in total. And it's like this massive game of like intrigue and sort of adventure and choices going on at the same time. It's really good. I'm really excited.
Well, one of the interesting things that I'm really looking forward to in the exploration of this game is it was mentioned to me that you could make decisions earlier on that really come back later in the game to have an impact.
Yeah.
And that is something that translates, it works really well in games like Fable and stuff like that in computer games and video games.
Oh yeah.
But seeing that kind of thing now translated into tabletop games, I think is going to be fascinating.
Well, there was a board game from Plaid Hat, Dead of Winter, that had this mechanic called the Crossroads mechanic, where you made these choices and consequence, and every single one of them had a consequence. And I think this is a good evolution of that almost into the way that Megacon are doing this here. Whereas in the Dead of Winter game, all the outcomes of your, the scenarios and things were at the bottom of cards. Whereas in this, I think it's all on the back, so you don't know what the outcome's going to be. You can't cheat, as it were. Well, you could, but that would be a bit silly of you, wouldn't it? But you can look at these things and go through this as a narrative experience, read these stories and get involved in it, and then see what happens at the end. It could become quite a shock to everyone as you're playing it. I think that's really awesome.
Yeah, cool. Well, that is Banner Saga Warbands by Megacon Games. It's launching next week, so it's definitely one to keep an eye out on. If there's some of those early birds in there, because we all remember with Myth, the amount of extras and freebies and things like that came out of the woodwork. Yeah. So maybe hopping in on the early birds on this one is the way to go. Okay, I have another one. Mm-hmm. Okay, next one is by a little company, a startup company called Oi Monster. Okay, and it's called Wolfstar Heroes. It's a quirky kind of little sci-fi game. It has some retro feels to it, and Justin, you're going to love it because it has space monkeys. Check this out.
Oi Monster.
Hi, I'm Matt White, co-founder of Oi Monster, and I would like to tell you today about our Kickstarter, Wolfstar Heroes. It's an epic sci-fi strategy card game featuring 2 decks of 60 cards for 2 to 4 players and takes around half an hour to play. Here are 5 reasons to pledge on our Kickstarter. 5. There are 120 cards. 4. And it's only £13. Or, if you're in the United States, about $20. 3. It's got space monkeys. 2. There's loads of alien monsters. There's loads of spaceships. And there's loads of heroes.
Number 1.
And it's got space monkeys! So in our Kickstarter, for the basic pledge, you get both the 2 60-card decks. So you can start playing the game straight away, straight out of the box. Thanks a lot for your support. Thank you. Space monkeys!
Yeah, so there we have Wolfstar Heroes, which whenever Justin watched that, he said, them cheeky space monkeys need a good spanking. So
lies and deception.
Ben, tell us about space monkeys.
Well, all I can think in my head right now is space monkeys, but the game itself, I think it's like an experience where one person plays as the Earth's colony defense force, and the other person plays as aliens. And your objective is to destroy your opponent's space station by playing down cards in front of you and attacking them with them and such like that.
Yeah.
Each player also has energy sources and things, which are out on the tabletop.
I found quite interesting was you had energy sources that allowed you to unlock fleets and things like that to defend. But you also have special characters, Ben, and you can attach those special characters to the fleets to kind of buff up and power up the fleets before the fleets go into battle.
Okay.
And then you can also have defense mechanisms that you can attach to your planets to defend your energy buffs.
Okay.
It's actually quite a lot of depth and tactical options in the game, from what I've been seeing.
I don't know.
Yeah. It's got space monkeys, Justin.
Okay, hang on. It's got space monkeys. But what do the space monkeys do?
They get spanked. So they do. They're cheeky. They're cheeky little space monkeys, Justin. They're there. They're in the deck waiting for you. Okay.
Right.
They're just in the deck waiting for you.
Okay.
So, what else do we know about it, Ben?
We know a little bit about the sort of way that you can take control of enemies and things like that by taking control of energy sources. It just looks like a really quick and easy card game to play, and I think the quirky aspect of it really sort of brings you into it. Like at first, when I first saw it, I wasn't totally overwhelmed by it, but as time went on, and I started watching the videos and stuff, I was dragged further, and I think it might be a really fun thing to play with sort of young kids and stuff like that, because I think the art style is quite easy for them to get into and things.
Yeah.
So looks really good.
I like it because I was looking at it and I was thinking this has a real Buck Rogers kind of feel to it. You know? It has that kind of.
Are we going for the 60s feel?
No, it's not. It wasn't the 60s feel of that, but more the kind of the charm. You know, the low key kind of charm, like a Futurama kind of thing. You know, it's not trying to be over the top in terms of its epicness and
with
its
the
design.
space monkeys.
Yeah, it's being quirky. It's got the humor and stuff in there, and but the underlying mechanics of it actually really appealed to me because it looked simple to me. It looked like something that it wasn't going to be reams and reams of pages of rules to try and get to grips with it.
Okay.
And it has space monkeys. It's not taking itself too seriously. I thought definitely one well worth a look. It's got about 25 days left.
All right. Well,
we'll see how they get on.
All right, John, you've been very quiet here.
Yeah. What's your thoughts, John? Do the space monkeys appeal?
This is not for me.
It's not for you.
This one is not.
There's not enough tanks in it. No. Is that it?
What about a space monkey in a tank?
Cool. Well, do you know what, John? Whenever they first sent rockets up, they put monkeys in them to test, the safety of it.
Yes,
I'm positive that the tank manufacturers, when they first rolled tanks off the production lines, they had monkeys in them, John. Because they had to test those tanks. And putting monkeys in them is the scientific way of testing new vehicles. He's not buying it. Okay, I think it's time to move on. What do you think, Ben?
Yeah, let's go on to the next one.
Okay, right. So next up we have one from our buddy, Kedric Winks. So Kedric was the winner of a previous game designer challenge, a Halloween game designer challenge, created a magnificent game called Localized, and has now went on to launch his own games and do other work within the industry. His latest Kickstarter is called Ghost Hunter Witches, and here's a trailer for it.
In the fields, feral beasts stalk the villages, and children lie awake with night terrors. Ever vigilant members of the Infernal Club have discovered the source of the corruption: witches. As one of the club's supernatural enforcers, it is your duty to conduct a witch hunt and capture as many of the coven as you dare. Ghost Hunter Witches is a card game for 2 or more players. Players must lay down higher and higher witch cards until one can lay a set of 3, capturing all the cards. A player who cannot keep up with the witches being laid will be forced to pick up the stack and add it to their hand. Every captured card is worth points at the end of the game. But be careful, witch hunting is never a straightforward business, and there is always the terrible risk of punishing the innocent, or falling foul to the tricks and hexes of the witches themselves. A hunter who ends the game with the most points survives. The others? Who knows? So assemble your trusted associates, light your torches, and prepare for the wickedness of Ghost Hunter Witches.
So Witches is on Kickstarter now. It's got it's into its last week, I believe.
Okay.
Now, it's part of the Ghost Hunter series, and around every Halloween or so, Kedric launches more and more into it. So there's Ghost Hunter, there's Ghost Hunter Vampires, which is another kind of expansion of it. This one is Witches. First thing I noticed, Ben, was a real uplift in the art quality on this game. I have some stuff to show you here. So here we have this is the box itself. Now the game plays in about 10 to 30 minutes. So it's not a difficult game to play, and it plays pretty quick. And basically, what you're trying to do is you're laying down stacks of cards, building up the points values. Okay, you're trying to capture some of these cards, and then whenever you capture them by laying down, I think it's like if you play a set or 3 cards at once, you get to capture it. And then you can leave that to one side. If you can't lay down a card of higher value, you have to lift it and add it to your hand.
I think what you're looking at the minute are the infinite cards, which are sort of special rule cards, and then you'll start to work down the numbers on the cards.
So what you have is you have the value of the card, you have the name of the card, and then
special rule.
the special rule. This one is reverse order of play. This one is a 5. But what I really like the art direction on these. I think there's something really classy about
it's really nice.
about these.
Art-wise.
Now, what happens is the game basically finishes whenever you've played your full hand of cards, and then it's just down to what you have got left, captured wise. So it's there's stretch goals if he can get funding, where he's going to go back over previous editions of the game with the artist. Who is the artist behind this, Ben?
The artist is Augustinus Raginski. If I'm saying it wrong, then I've butchered it, but I think that's the name. So yes, and as you say, the artwork is fantastic. I really like the stylized look of the game. I think it looks really, really nice. It's also very creepy as well, which is exactly what you want when you're looking at witches. So.
Yeah. It's a small Kickstarter, but definitely one worth checking out. And just for the icing on the cake, and one of the things I really like about the Ghost Hunter series, take a look at this. The rules for the game are just on the front and back of 2 cards. And that's all you need. That's all you need for all the rules of the game. So please do go and check out Ghost Hunter Witches, and come back and tell us what you think of it. Okay, last one.
Okay.
This is the biggie. This is the one that has had me jumping up and down, squealing like a little boy. It's the Warlock of Firetop Mountain, which we'll know from Fighting Fantasy fame.
Oh, yes.
Okay? But this is a digital game that takes it way, way into the territory of awesome sauce. Check this out.
Hi there, I'm Neil Renison. I'm the director of Tin Man Games. We're the team that have been creating the Fighting Fantasy apps over the last few years. We're here to tell you about our new project, which is the Warlock of Firetop Mountain, and we need your help.
For those of you who haven't heard of the Warlock of Firetop Mountain before, the evil warlock Zagor lurks deep within Firetop Mountain, and it's up to you to find him and reclaim his treasure.
Now with Warlock, we're going for a really different approach. We have gorgeously rendered the world in which you play. So it's not just words on a page that you're reading, you actually see where you are and the place around you.
In order to bring Firetop Mountain to life in 3D, we've decided to focus on tabletop miniatures. We're working with a company in the UK that creates physical miniatures that we scan in and then digitally paint so that we can really capture that sense of a hand-painted model as you would have in your own games at home.
We're self-funded at this point, and what we've created is a totally new fighting fantasy that is awesome to play and looks great.
For the first time, we've actually created a miniatures-based combat system, so you can actually battle your enemies in a real-time combat.
You can now play as multiple characters, each with their own different motivations and adventures. The story changes based on which character you play as, and you can even play as the Warlock himself, Zaven.
We've got some awesome backer awards as well, such as beta access, your name in the game, your face on a character, and you can even design a room in a dungeon.
So if you've ever enjoyed any of our games, or love the Fighting Fantasy series, then please consider backing us. And together we can bring one of the genre's most beloved game books to life in a new way.
What about that?
Sold.
Ah!
Sold.
Full 3D experience of Firetop Mountain. Oh, Ben, I'm just over the moon.
Yeah, I think this looks really, really good. I mean, Tin Man have done some really good stuff in the past. They did a version of City of Thieves, but this, I think, is elevating things to an entirely new level, building an entirely new version of the Fighting Fantasy world. And I think this could be a big hit, a big hit. So.
Now, the other thing about it, what you'll have seen from the trailer, where it really connects to us as hobbyists, Otherworld?
Yeah, they're digitizing
So the Otherworld
minis.
monsters in there, the legendary Otherworld giant, that thing used to be made in metal, and it weighed 1.5 kilos.
We still have our one.
Yeah.
We still have our one, and since it was built, it has never once broken.
Yeah, that was the power of Filaglue, an old super glue that used to be on the market. It was incredible. It was incredible. But those Otherworld miniatures, like Otherworld and dungeon crawling, are now becoming synonymous with one another. So it's and it just looks beautiful. Ben, I really like the fact that they're not animating these miniatures. They are just miniatures in the game.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're taking the miniatures as they are. I mean, Otherworld actually do a Zagor miniature, the actual Warlock. I think you can find it over on their web store. But it's all. I think it's good that they've kept them looking like miniatures and not animated like miniatures are, but it also all works within its own combat system within the game as well. So it feels almost like you're playing a tabletop game on your phone or PC or whatever. So
now I've actually been playing through this book with my children. So I've been creating this kind of multiplayer experience with the kids. But to be able to do this on an app with them will be very, very cool, because I enjoy the reading through the book with them, and sometimes they kind of split up a little bit. I never let them split up too far, but I let them split up a little bit. So my copy of the Warlock of Firetop Mountain looks exactly like the guys in the video, with all the little post-it notes of trying to track the pages.
Here's where Savannah's going.
But this game is designed to allow multiple players, so it'll be interesting to see if they can split up and move off in different directions and then come back in
online
again.
co-op, where you and a group of mates can sit down with your own device while you're traveling somewhere, and you're each going through the adventure together on your own device.
Yeah, it's a very, very exciting game. I'm a huge fan of the fighting fantasy. Not only the novels, but my actual pride and joy of my fighting fantasy things is the advanced fighting fantasy role-playing books. So I have Out of the Pit, which is a beautiful book full of hundreds and hundreds of little monsters and stuff like that in there. I have the 10th anniversary yearbook, which is probably one of my favorite things. It's a diary, but it also has things like the dwarven runes. It has languages in there. It has all the different things that happen at different times of the year within the world of fighting fantasy. And then you actually have Dungeoneer, which is the fighting fantasy rules for playing it as an RPG rather than just playing it through the book. I'm a huge fan of the world of fighting fantasy. I think it's fabulous.
Will you play as Zagor? Will you play as the Warlock himself, Warren? What do you think?
No.
No, you won't play as Zagor?
This is a game I reserve now for myself and the kids, and I play as one of them.
Okay.
So so the three of us each have our characters, and we tend to just stay close. Stay close. Open the door. I love in that video you can see the snake in the box, because the snake in the box has, if anybody's ever played fighting fantasy, especially that first book, the snake in the box is a huge thing, and it became a huge thing for my kids as well because it utterly terrified them. The idea of this snake jumping out, because I got the opportunity to read it and go, and you opened the box. There's a snake in there! And it scared the crap out of them. I loved it. I will always love that. Yeah. Scaring the crap out of my kids is my prerogative. As a dad, I'm allowed to do that. So I'm a big fan of the snake in the box. Yeah, definitely. It's got about 22 days to go. Go and check it out. Warlock of Firetop Mountain, the digital game. It's awesome sauce, and yeah, I think it's definitely worth it back, especially because our buddies at Otherworld Miniatures are involved in that. So yeah, go check it out and let us know. Right, that about wraps it up for this week. Now, if you're wondering if you won one of the limited edition metal miniatures from Dropfleet Commander, guess what? I'm not telling you this week. I'm going to tell you next week. So if you haven't entered that competition yet, go come on over to beastsofwar.com. You'll see a banner at the top which says Dropfleet Commander Weekend. It should hopefully still be there. If it is, click on it, and in there's a bunch of videos all about the Dropfleet Commander Kickstarter that is currently ongoing on Kickstarter. By commenting on those videos here on beastsofwar.com or here on YouTube or on their corresponding posts on Facebook, which are probably going to be a little bit more difficult to find now, you are in with a chance of winning one of 10 completely limited edition metal cast models of Scourge. Is it cruisers or carriers?
It's the frigates.
I think it's a cruiser.
No,
actually.
it's the frigates.
I think you will see on the screen that it says cruiser. So, well, whichever it is, it's a spaceship anyway. And you have a chance of winning one of 10, and you'll get a little letter of authenticity and stuff like that as well, signed by the Hawk team. So we'll be announcing the 10 winners on next week's show. Remember that you can also enter this week's competition to win the Eden rulebook and the 2 starter sets. And if you come on over and watch the extra long backstage version of this show tomorrow morning on beastsofwar.com, you have a chance of winning that prize where you can pick any Eden miniature you want and have it professionally painted by the creators.
Yes.
Which I think is gorgeous.
That's a very cool prize.
Okay, thank you, John. Thanks to Justin. Thank you, Ben. And all being well, we'll see you guys over at beastsofwar.com tomorrow for XLBS. Until then, have a great week of gaming.
In a world controlled by massive corporations, a steady aim and split-second decisions are needed for your Megacon to complete its goals. Begin your missions at the Mercs Hub on beastsofwar.com. Progress comes to a world of magic as science and the arcane combine to make marvels. Meet steampunk inventors and orc mystics at the Volsung Hub on beastsofwar.com.